All right, welcome. If you're gearing up for your Cambridge International A-Level IT exams, you already know Chapter 14 is a big one. So in this explainer, we're going to zero in on Subchapter 14.1, all about computer networks. Let's dive right in. Just stop and think for a second. How do all your gadgets, your phone, your laptop, even your printer, how do they all just work together? It almost feels like magic, right? You hit print on your phone and it just happens. You're streaming a movie while someone else is gaming? Well, that magic has a name, and that's exactly what we're breaking down today: computer networks.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the basics. What even is a network? Then we'll look at the main types out there. After that, we'll do a deep dive into LANs, which you're probably using right now. We'll cover the essential pros and cons for your exams, and then finish up with a quick recap and some practice questions. Sound good?
Okay, let's get started. Section 1, what is a network? This is really the foundation of everything we're going to talk about.
So here's the official textbook definition. A computer network is basically a connection between devices, which we call network nodes, that lets them exchange data and share stuff. Now, the key words here are exchange and shared. It's not just about connecting cables, it's about what that connection lets you do. You can share files, share a printer, that's a peripheral, or even share an internet connection. And any device on that network, whether it's your laptop or a massive server, is called a node.
All right, next up, the main network types. Now that we know what a network is, let's look at the different flavors they come in. And trust me, you'll want to know the difference for your exams. And this diagram from your textbook lays it all out perfectly. You can see there are quite a few types, from the LANs we use at home to things like VPNs. We're going to give a nod to most of these, but for your exam, the two you really need to master are the LAN and the WAN.
Let's start with the one you know best: the local area network, or LAN. Think of your Wi-Fi at home, or the network at your school. The name says it all: local. It's all contained within a small area, like a single building.
And on the complete opposite end of the scale, you have the wide area network, or WAN. And when they say wide, they really mean it. We're talking about connecting things across cities, countries, even continents. The biggest, most mind-blowing example of a WAN: the internet itself. It's basically one giant WAN connecting all the smaller networks in the world. Now, there are a few other types you should be aware of. You've got wireless networks, obviously. Client-server networks are super common in businesses, where a powerful server provides services to lots of other computers, or clients. And you've probably heard of a VPN, a virtual private network, which is like a secret, secure tunnel for your data over the public internet. But like I said, for your exams, the LAN is king. So let's zoom in on that. Okay, Section 3. A deep dive into the LAN. This is the network you use every single day, and it comes up in exams all the time. So let's get into the details. Okay, this is an absolutely critical comparison for your exams. So a LAN is small, right? Usually in one building. That means it's typically owned by one organization, and because the distances are so short, the data transfer speeds are super fast. Now, a WAN is the opposite. It covers a huge area, so it has to use existing infrastructure like phone lines that are leased from telecom companies, and because the data has to travel so far, it's naturally going to be slower. Nailing these differences is key.
Right, next up, the pros and cons of LANs. Listen up, because this is pure gold for your exams. You're almost guaranteed to get a question asking you to talk about the good and the bad of having a network, so let's get these points locked in.
So let's kick things off with the advantages. What are all the good things we get from setting up a LAN? The first big win is all about sharing resources. First, you can share peripherals. Instead of buying a printer for every single person, you can have one big printer that everyone in the office uses. Huge cost saver. Second, you can share data and files. Everything can be stored in one central place, so everyone's working from the same document, and backing it all up is a breeze. And third, you can even share software. You can install an application on a central server, and everyone can access it from there. So much easier to update and manage.
And the advantages don't stop there. Communication becomes a piece of cake. Think internal email or messaging systems. You can also share a single internet connection with everyone on the network, which is way cheaper and lets a network manager keep an eye on things. And here's a cool one. It can actually improve security. You can secure that central data storage really well, and the network can even hide your computer's internal IP address from the big bad internet.
But of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. To get top marks in an exam, you have to show the other side of the coin. So let's talk disadvantages.
Okay, so what are the downsides? Well, for one, it needs an administrator.
Someone has to set up and maintain the network, and that person's salary costs money. Security is also a bit of a double-edged sword. If malware gets onto one computer, it can spread like wildfire to every other computer on the network. There's also a privacy issue, right? A network administrator could, in theory, see all the data stored on the network. And finally, it's just more complex and expensive to set up than just having a bunch of standalone computers.
Phew, we've covered a ton. So let's wrap this up with a quick recap and then test your knowledge with some exam-style questions.
Okay, if you're cramming and can only remember a few things, make it these. 1. A network is all about connecting devices to share things. 2. LAN is small and local, like a school. WAN is large and wide, like across cities. 3. The biggest advantage of a LAN is sharing stuff, printers, files, you name it. And 4. The biggest disadvantage is the cost and the risk of malware spreading really fast. Got it? Awesome.
All right, time for some practice. Here's a very typical exam question. Discuss 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages of networking the computers in a school library. Go on, pause and have a think. Ready? For advantages, you could talk about how all the computers could share one high-speed printer, saving money, or how they could all access a central database of library books. For disadvantages, well, you'd need to hire someone to manage the network, and there's always this scary thought of a virus spreading from one student's USB stick to the entire library system.
Here's another classic. Explain how a wide area network, WAN, is distinguished from a local area network, LAN. This is a straight-up knowledge check. You'd want to hit those key points we talked about, the massive difference in geographic area, the fact that LANs are usually privately owned while WANs use leased lines, and of course, the difference in speed. That comparison we did earlier, that's your perfect answer right there.
And just to leave you with something to think about, everything we've discussed today, these basic principles of networking, they're being applied on a scale we've never seen before. We're talking about smart homes, smart cities, even smart clothes. Everything is becoming a node on a massive global network. So, what do you think is the single biggest challenge we're going to face with all of this? Is it keeping it all secure, protecting our privacy, or is it just the mind-boggling complexity of it all? Food for thought. Thanks so much for joining me, and best of luck with your revision.